The relationship between the Imperial Security Bureau ISB and Darth Sidious was a cornerstone of the Galactic Empire's structure, reflecting the intricate balance of power and control that allowed Sidious to maintain his iron grip on the galaxy. At its core, the ISB served as a vital extension of Sidious' will, a tool that enabled him to exert influence, suppress dissent, and ensure unwavering loyalty throughout the Empire. While the Emperor himself operated from the shadows, manipulating events with a masterful touch, the ISB acted as his eyes and ears within the vast Imperial bureaucracy and beyond. The ISB, initially formed as a specialized branch of Imperial intelligence, evolved into a distinct entity focused on internal security, counterintelligence, and maintaining the ideological purity of the Empire. Its primary function was to identify and eliminate threats to Imperial rule, whether they stemmed from rebellious factions, disloyal officers, or civilian populations. However, its role went beyond mere policing. It was a mechanism through which Sidious could enforce absolute control over his subordinates, ensuring that fear and paranoia permeated every level of the Imperial hierarchy. The foundation of this relationship lay in the ISB's unique mandate to operate independently of traditional military and political oversight. While figures like Grand Moff Tarkin and Admiral Thrawn commanded respect and authority within their respective domains, the ISB answered directly to the Emperor, bypassing conventional chains of command. This arrangement allowed Sidious to wield the ISB as a covert instrument, capable of investigating and disciplining even the highest-ranking officials without interference. The ISB's autonomy fostered an environment of constant scrutiny, where loyalty to the Emperor was paramount, and any deviation from his directives could result in severe consequences. Under Sidious' rule, the ISB was tasked with ensuring that the Empire's narrative remained consistent and unchallenged. Propaganda, a crucial element of the ISB's operations, was used to shape public perception and reinforce the Emperor's image as a benevolent and omnipotent ruler. By controlling the flow of information, the ISB could manipulate events to serve the Empire's agenda, suppressing news of rebel victories or fabricating stories to discredit opposition movements. This control over information was a key aspect of Sidious' strategy to maintain power, as it allowed him to dictate the narrative and prevent dissent from gaining traction among the populace. The ISB's internal monitoring capabilities were equally critical to its role as Sidious' enforcer. Through a vast network of informants, surveillance systems, and covert operatives, the ISB kept a close watch on Imperial personnel and civilian populations alike. Any signs of disloyalty, subversion, or potential rebellion were swiftly investigated, with suspects often subjected to harsh interrogation techniques to extract confessions or intelligence. These methods, though brutal, were effective in fostering a culture of fear and compliance, ensuring that even the slightest hint of dissent was met with swift and decisive action. One of the most striking aspects of the ISB's relationship with Sidious was its role in the suppression of the Jedi Order and the enforcement of the Emperor's anti-Force policies. Following the execution of Order 66, the ISB was instrumental in hunting down surviving Jedi and other Force-sensitive individuals who posed a threat to Sidious' rule. This task was not limited to direct confrontation. The ISB also worked to eradicate any cultural or historical remnants of the Jedi, including texts, artifacts, and teachings that could inspire resistance. By systematically erasing the Jedi from public consciousness, the ISB helped to solidify the Emperor's narrative of the Jedi as traitors and ensure that future generations would have little knowledge of their existence. The ISB's activities extended beyond mere enforcement. It also played a key role in the Emperor's grander schemes to consolidate power and reshape the galaxy in his image. Sidious' ultimate goal was to create a Sith-ruled galaxy, with the Empire serving as the foundation for his dark vision. To this end, the ISB conducted secret operations aimed at uncovering ancient Sith artifacts and knowledge that could further the Emperor's understanding of the dark side. These missions often took agents to remote and dangerous regions of the galaxy, where they faced not only physical challenges, but also the corrupting influence of the dark side itself. The ISB's effectiveness as an instrument of Sidious' will was due in large part to its leadership, which was carefully selected and groomed to embody the Emperor's principles. Figures like Colonel Wolf Yularen, a high-ranking ISB officer, exemplified the organization's commitment to loyalty, discipline, and ruthless efficiency. Yularen's background as a military officer and his unwavering dedication to the Imperial cause made him an ideal candidate for the ISB, where he could leverage his expertise to serve the Emperor's interests. Under Yularen's leadership, the ISB became a formidable force, capable of executing complex operations with precision and effectiveness. Despite its power and influence, the ISB was not immune to internal strife and competition. The organization itself was a microcosm of the broader Imperial system, characterized by intense rivalry and infighting among its officers. This environment of suspicion and ambition was deliberately cultivated by Sidious, who recognized the value of keeping his subordinates divided and focused on their own survival. By fostering competition within the ISB, the Emperor ensured that no single individual or faction could amass enough power to challenge his authority. In addition to its internal challenges, the ISB faced external threats from the growing Rebel Alliance and other resistance movements. These groups posed a direct challenge to the Empire's authority, and the ISB was at the forefront of efforts to neutralize them. Through intelligence gathering, infiltration, and targeted strikes, the ISB sought to dismantle the Rebel Alliance and prevent it from gaining widespread support. While the organization's successes in this regard were mixed, its relentless pursuit of the rebellion underscored its commitment to preserving the Emperor's rule at any cost. The relationship between the ISB and Darth Sidious was marked by a complex interplay of trust and control. On one hand, the ISB was entrusted with significant authority and autonomy, reflecting the Emperor's reliance on the organization to execute his will. On the other hand, Sidious maintained strict oversight of the ISB's operations, using it not only as a tool of enforcement, but also as a means of ensuring loyalty within the Empire. This dual role highlighted the Emperor's mastery of manipulation, as he expertly balanced the ISB's power to serve his interests while keeping it firmly under his control. Ultimately, the ISB's relationship with Sidious was a testament to the Emperor's ability to shape and wield power in its most insidious form. Through the ISB, Sidious created a system of governance that was both efficient and oppressive, capable of maintaining order while suppressing dissent. This system, built on fear and control, allowed the Emperor to achieve his vision of a Sith-dominated galaxy, even as it sowed the seeds of its eventual downfall. The ISB's role within the Imperial machine went beyond mere enforcement. It was an extension of Darth Sidious' philosophy of absolute control. The ISB did not simply enforce loyalty, it cultivated fear, ensuring that every Imperial officer, from the lowliest bureaucrat on a remote Outer Rim outpost to the most decorated Grand Admiral on Coruscant, understood that they were always being watched. This omnipresence was designed to instill the belief that no one, not even those in Sidious' inner circle, was beyond scrutiny. Sidious understood that fear was a more potent motivator than loyalty. Loyalty could waver, but fear, if properly maintained, would remain constant. The ISB embodied this principle, utilizing a combination of surveillance, psychological manipulation, and ruthless efficiency to create an atmosphere where disobedience was not just punished but was almost unthinkable. ISB officers were trained to look for even the smallest signs of dissent, an offhand remark, a subtle deviation in behavior, or an unguarded expression of doubt could be enough to trigger an investigation. This vigilance ensured that the ISB's presence was felt even when it wasn't seen, a psychological strategy that extended Sidious' control far beyond the reach of his physical presence. The ISB's reach extended into every facet of Imperial life. Civilian sectors, corporate enterprises, and even local planetary governments were not immune to its gaze. By embedding operatives and informants in these areas, the ISB ensured that potential threats to the Empire could be identified and neutralized before they could grow. This proactive approach was central to the ISB's strategy, reflecting Sidious' preference for preemptive action over reactive measures. It was not enough to punish rebellion after it had begun. The ISB sought to prevent it from emerging in the first place. The ISB's methods, while effective, were often brutal. Interrogations were a key tool in their arsenal, and ISB interrogators were infamous for their ability to extract information through any means necessary. Torture, both physical and psychological, was commonplace, and the ISB's detention centers were places of fear and suffering. Yet these methods were not employed indiscriminately. They were part of a calculated strategy designed to maximize fear and minimize resistance. Every public arrest, every publicized execution served as a reminder of the ISB's power and the consequences of defying the Emperor. Sidious, for his part, was a master of using the ISB to reinforce his image as a ruler who was both omnipotent and omnipresent. While he rarely intervened directly in the ISB's operations, his influence was felt in every decision they made. The ISB's directives often came in the form of vague, seemingly arbitrary orders that only made sense when viewed through the lens of Sidious' grand strategy. This approach served to further enhance the Emperor's mystique, portraying him as a ruler who was always several steps ahead of his enemies. The ISB also played a key role in Sidious' efforts to root out the remaining Jedi and other Force-sensitive individuals. While the Emperor relied heavily on the Sith and his Inquisitors for direct confrontations with these targets, the ISB provided the crucial intelligence that made such operations possible. Through careful surveillance and interrogation, the ISB was often able to identify potential Jedi hiding among the population, allowing Sidious more specialized agents to deal with them. This collaboration between the ISB and the Emperor's dark agents was emblematic of Sidious' ability to integrate the various arms of the Imperial machine into a cohesive, deadly force. Beyond its enforcement role, the ISB was deeply involved in Sidious' long-term plans to reshape the galaxy. This involved more than just maintaining order. It required the systematic transformation of the galaxy's political, social, and cultural landscape to align with the Emperor's vision. To this end, the ISB conducted covert operations designed to destabilize or eliminate any remnants of the Republic's old institutions. Whether through sabotage, assassination, or manipulation of local politics, the ISB worked tirelessly to ensure that the galaxy's systems and sectors fell in line with Imperial doctrine. One of the more secretive aspects of the ISB's operations was its involvement in Sith-related projects. Sidious, always seeking to expand his understanding and mastery of the dark side, often tasked the ISB with uncovering ancient Sith knowledge and artifacts. These missions were conducted in utmost secrecy, as knowledge of the Sith's true power was something the Emperor guarded jealously. Only a select few within the ISB were even aware of these operations, and those who participated were bound by oaths of silence and subjected to intense scrutiny to ensure their loyalty. The ISB's involvement in these dark endeavors demonstrated its value as more than just an enforcement arm. It was an essential component of Sidious' pursuit of ultimate power. By delegating these sensitive tasks to the ISB, Sidious could focus on his own dark studies, confident that his agents would carry out his will with the utmost efficiency and discretion. This trust, however, was a double-edged sword. While the ISB's power and autonomy were necessary for its effectiveness, they also made it a potential threat. Sidious, ever the cautious ruler, ensured that the ISB was kept in check through a combination of direct oversight and internal competition. The ISB's internal structure was deliberately designed to prevent any single individual or faction from gaining too much power. Rivalries were encouraged, and promotions often hinged on an officer's ability to outmaneuver their peers. This culture of competition ensured that the ISB remained focused on its mission, as officers were too preoccupied with their own survival to plot against the Emperor. Sidious, in turn, used these rivalries to his advantage, playing officers against each other to maintain control. Despite its ruthless efficiency and widespread influence, the ISB was not infallible. The organization faced numerous challenges, both internal and external, that tested its capabilities and loyalty. The growing rebel alliance, in particular, proved to be a formidable adversary. While the ISB's intelligence operations were often successful in uncovering and dismantling rebel cells, the rebellion's decentralized structure and the dedication of its members made it difficult to completely eradicate. Moreover, the ISB's heavy-handed tactics sometimes had the unintended effect of driving more individuals to join the rebellion, a reality that Sidious was aware of but deemed an acceptable risk in the pursuit of total control. Sidious' relationship with the ISB was ultimately one of mutual utility. The ISB served as a critical tool in the Emperor's arsenal, enabling him to maintain his grip on the galaxy and advance his dark ambitions. In return, the ISB's power and influence were derived directly from their association with the Emperor, who ensured that they had the resources and authority needed to carry out their missions. This symbiotic relationship was emblematic of Sidious' broader strategy of consolidating power through a combination of fear, loyalty, and manipulation. The ISB's legacy, like that of the Empire itself, was one of fear, control, and unrelenting oppression. It was a symbol of the Emperor's dominance and a reminder of the cost of defying his rule. Through its actions, the ISB helped to create a galaxy where dissent was silenced, individuality was suppressed, and the Emperor's will was absolute. In this way, the ISB was more than just an agency, it was a manifestation of Sidious' dark vision, a testament to his mastery of power and his relentless pursuit of galactic domination. Their relationship was a dark partnership, one that played a pivotal role in shaping the galaxy during the height of the Empire's reign. The ISB's tireless efforts to root out dissent, enforce Imperial doctrine, and support Sidious' Sith ambitions ensured that the Emperor's grip on the galaxy remained unchallenged, at least for a time. The ISB's methods of control and surveillance played a crucial role in maintaining the fear-driven hierarchy that was central to Sidious' regime. Its operatives were deeply embedded in every layer of the Empire, from local governing bodies on outer rim worlds to the highest levels of military command stationed on Coruscant. This pervasive reach allowed the ISB to monitor all facets of Imperial society, ensuring that even the slightest hint of subversion was swiftly detected and eliminated. Sidious, ever calculating, knew that the ISB's omnipresence would serve as a deterrent to rebellion. The organization's reputation for ruthlessness preceded it. Rumors of its brutal interrogations and mysterious disappearances spread fear far and wide. This fear was not merely a byproduct of the ISB's actions, but an intentional element of its strategy. Sidious understood that controlling the galaxy required more than military might, it required psychological dominance. The ISB, through its calculated acts of terror and propaganda, ensured that the Empire's subjects were too afraid to resist. One of the ISB's most effective tools was its network of informants, comprised not only of professional spies, but also of ordinary citizens coerced into service. Neighbors, co-workers, and even family members could be turned into informants under the ISB's watchful eye. This created a pervasive sense of mistrust within communities, effectively isolating individuals and preventing the formation of organized resistance. The knowledge that anyone could be an ISB informant bred paranoia, further solidifying the Empire's control over its populace. While the ISB's primary focus was on internal security, its influence extended into external operations as well. Its agents frequently collaborated with other Imperial branches, such as the Imperial Navy and the Army, to coordinate joint missions aimed at quelling insurrections and rooting out rebel cells. These operations often involved sophisticated tactics, including the use of false intelligence to lure rebel forces into traps. Such strategies highlighted the ISB's cunning and its role as a key player in the Emperor's broader military campaigns. However, the ISB's external activities were not limited to conventional warfare. The organization also engaged in more clandestine operations, such as espionage, sabotage, and the assassination of key rebel leaders. These missions required a unique skill set, and the ISB cultivated a cadre of highly trained operatives capable of executing them with precision. These elite agents, often operating under deep cover, were instrumental in destabilizing rebel efforts and keeping the Empire one step ahead of its enemies. The ISB's relationship with Darth Sidious was underscored by a delicate balance of power and dependence. While the ISB operated with a significant degree of autonomy, it was ultimately subservient to the Emperor's will. Sidious maintained direct oversight of the organization's most sensitive operations, often issuing orders through intermediaries to maintain his veil of detachment. This ensured that the ISB's actions aligned with his broader strategic goals, while also allowing him to distance himself from any failures or scandals that might arise. Despite its effectiveness, the ISB was not without its challenges. The organization's culture of paranoia and competition, while useful in preventing internal dissent, also led to inefficiencies and occasional power struggles. Officers often vied for favor and promotion, sometimes at the expense of operational success. This internal friction was something Sidious carefully managed, using it to his advantage when necessary but intervening when it threatened to undermine the ISB's effectiveness. Another significant challenge the ISB faced was the growing strength and sophistication of the rebel alliance. As the rebellion evolved from a loose network of insurgent cells into a more organized and coordinated force, the ISB found itself increasingly stretched thin. Rebel leaders, aware of the ISB's tactics, adapted their strategies to counter them, employing deception, counterintelligence, and secure communication methods to evade detection. This cat-and-mouse game tested the ISB's capabilities and forced it to continually refine its methods. One of the ISB's most high-profile failures came with the theft of the Death Star plans, an event that highlighted the organization's limitations and vulnerabilities. Despite its extensive surveillance network and rigorous security protocols, the ISB was unable to prevent this critical breach, which ultimately led to the destruction of the Empire's most powerful weapon. This failure was a significant blow to the ISB's reputation and demonstrated that even Sidious' most trusted instruments of control were not infallible. Yet even in the face of such setbacks, the ISB remained a formidable force. Its ability to recover from failures and adapt to new challenges was a testament to its resilience and the effectiveness of its leadership. Figures like Colonel Yularen, who were deeply loyal to the Emperor, played a crucial role in maintaining the ISB's operational integrity. These leaders embodied the ISB's ethos of discipline and unwavering commitment to the Empire's ideals, ensuring that the organization continued to serve as a cornerstone of Sidious' regime. Sidious' use of the ISB also reflected his broader philosophy of governance. Unlike the Jedi, who sought harmony and balance, Sidious believed in the power of division and control. The ISB, with its emphasis on surveillance, coercion, and psychological manipulation, was the perfect embodiment of this philosophy. It allowed the Emperor to maintain order not through trust or unity, but through fear and domination. Moreover, the ISB's role in suppressing Force-sensitive individuals extended beyond the remnants of the Jedi Order. Sidious was acutely aware of the potential threat posed by untrained or rogue Force users who might rise against him. The ISB was tasked with identifying and neutralizing these individuals, often working in conjunction with the Emperor's Inquisitors. This partnership between the ISB and the dark side enforcers further demonstrated the multifaceted nature of Sidious' control, blending the political and the supernatural to maintain his reign. Throughout its existence, the ISB's effectiveness was a reflection of Sidious' own strategic genius. The Emperor's ability to leverage the ISB's strengths while mitigating its weaknesses was a key factor in the longevity of his rule. By fostering an environment of fear and paranoia, he ensured that the ISB remained both a shield and a sword, protecting his regime from internal threats while striking down external enemies. In the grand scheme of the Galactic Empire, the ISB was more than just a security agency. It was an integral part of Sidious' vision for galactic domination. Its influence permeated every aspect of Imperial life, shaping the galaxy into a realm where the Emperor's will was absolute. Through its relentless pursuit of control, the ISB helped to sustain the illusion of an unassailable empire, even as cracks began to form beneath the surface. Sidious' reliance on the ISB also underscored the precarious nature of his rule. While the ISB was instrumental in maintaining order, it was also a constant reminder of the fragility of the Empire's power. The need for such an extensive and oppressive security apparatus revealed the underlying instability of a regime built on fear. Despite its outward appearance of strength, the Empire's reliance on the ISB and similar institutions highlighted the inherent weaknesses of a system that demanded absolute control. In the end, the ISB's relationship with Darth Sidious was a microcosm of the Empire itself, a dynamic interplay of power, fear, and control. It was a relationship that defined the very nature of Imperial rule, illustrating the lengths to which Sidious was willing to go to secure his vision of a Sith-dominated galaxy. Through the ISB, Sidious was able to extend his influence to every corner of the galaxy, ensuring that his shadow loomed over all who lived under the Empire's banner. Yet this very same apparatus of control would ultimately contribute to the Empire's downfall, as the fear it instilled also fueled the fires of rebellion.